All leads are opportunities. Not all leads are great customers, but all of them are an opportunity to be a great customer. The leads, I'll be honest with you, doing this long enough, the leads are as good as you think they are. If you think those leads are garbage, they are garbage. I will promise you they will be garbage. If you feel like there's good leads in there, then there'll be good leads in there. And I've seen it time and time again. The agents that go into it with a positive attitude have really great results. The ones that think they're a victim and everything's against them don't have good results. That's just how it works.
The management and transparency is what's very important. So once you submit a referral, you're going to have your own Home Advantage account, and it's going to tell you where everything sits. So if you have 10 referrals that you've sent into the network, it's going to give you all 10 referrals. It's going to tell you every milestone that client is sitting in, whether they're touring homes, whether they're in escrow. And you now can manage through the Home Advantage application as far as what your pipeline looks like for the referrals that you've sent. And so it's pretty sophisticated, and it's all click of a button, guys.
So we get people in on the socials. Craig, how's your day today, man?
Oh, it's amazing. The weather's actually good here in New York. We're in our 40s, which is really high for us in February. So,
dang,
not as nice as your weather, I'm sure, where you're at.
You know, it's a little windy, so I'm complaining. Well, let's get into the good stuff here. First of all, thanks for doing this. This is brought to you by Real Geeks, and Craig is doing us an amazing favor and jumping in as we talk about really maintaining lead engagement. I think that's where a lot of us fall behind. And a lot of us just fail in this business there. So this is why I'm excited. For me, Craig, the majority of our business comes from, in this order, referrals from our past clients and Sphere, but a close second, online leads.
Yeah.
And so I want to see what you've got, because you've done this very successfully. And where would we start when it comes to really maintaining lead engagement?
Well, I think it starts with lead routing, but I want to back exactly what you're saying. We teach our agents from day one the exact same thing. We teach them 3 pillars of their business. We want them to work on a referral-based business. We want them to do some type of internet lead of some kind, and we're providing those as well. And then third off, we want them to find something else that they really have a passion about. It could be doing seminars. It could be doing open houses really well. It could be farming neighborhoods, whatever it is. But they got to be staying in those 3 lanes and do them really well. So I think lead routing is a big thing, depending on who you are. I mean, you're either an individual agent or you are running a team. And in either case, you need to have some type of program to kind of help focus the lead in the right place. And there's a million different ways you can look at this, but at the end of the day, it's got to be something that works for you and your business. And one thing I will say is you do need to make sure that all of your leads are going to the same place. So you want to find a CRM and have them all going into that same place, from your open houses to your networking events to, your friends and family, to everything. So you have one place that you're working off of versus having 25 different places that you're trying to keep track of. So when it comes to lead routing, there's a few samples I have. It starts with round robin. That's something that's built into the Real Geek system, something I used at first. We have a medium-sized team, and we found that the round robin sometimes would go around a couple times, and it started getting it just wasn't good customer service, I guess you could say, for us. And it just didn't work really well from that perspective. Real Geeks also has something called lead ponds. That's something we explored as well. Once again, it just didn't work for our business. We tried it out. We had semi-good success with it. We just had some problems with the agents putting stuff they shouldn't back into the ponds, and things broke at that point. So we then thought we were geniuses. This was a few years ago, probably 3-4 years ago. We thought we were geniuses, and we came up with we brought old real estate back, and we had lead shifts. So we said, hey, you can sign up for a lead shift. You'll get all the leads that come in during that shift. Okay. And those will be yours. And you can kind of time block and, run your schedule better. And agents really loved this at first. The biggest thing was the management of it. It was very difficult because our person inside had to move the people to their lead shift on a given time zone. And sometimes they weren't really good at that, and someone wouldn't get any leads and they were wondering why. And it was because the other person was still getting leads. So we kind of gravitated away from that. And then ISAs were the biggest rage in real estate, and everybody had to have an ISA. And we did it as well. We tried to do the one in our own office, which worked out amazing. So I'm not trying to say ISAs aren't great. What I'm saying is an ISA is a really particular type of person. They typically have to be really outgoing. And if you think about what you're doing, you're putting a really outgoing person in a room by themselves so that they're not distracted, and they hate that. So what our experience at least was with that was they would burn out pretty quick. And so I would spend a lot of time training somebody up to be great at that job. They were great at the job. We were getting a lot of conversion, but then they would burn out. And so I just looked at it being the size I was and figured I wasn't going to be able to train somebody every 6 months. It just wasn't in my wheelhouse. So we then went to a virtual ISA, which there's a lot of companies out there. If you want to look one up, you just Google virtual ISA and you'll find 10 different companies. I'm not going to promote any of them, but I will say I used one of them and they were very good. The cost was what I thought was fair per conversation, and they were really good at converting. Unfortunately, they tried to go too digital or too virtual in their growing, and they thought they could do more text messaging than actual communication. And that's where things kind of fell off the tracks for us. But I think they're back to where they were before. You would just have to ask that question. The last option, or two last options, are having an ISA that's actually truly virtual, meaning out of country. And there's great companies that you can hire a virtual assistant and you can train them up. But once again, you're going to be responsible for that training, and that may or may not be ideal for you. The last thing that we're actually using today is we have an actual Shark Tank Slack integration with Real Geeks. And one of the benefits to Real Geeks that I absolutely love, being semi-techie, is their open API. They allow other things to play with their CRM. So you get that communication two-way, and you can build your own kind of stuff if you're good like that, or you can find somebody to do that, or you can find another product that really works well and covers all those bases. So one of those things we do is we use Slack. Basically, the lead comes into our CRM, into the Real Geeks. It's pushed over to Slack, and it's a Shark Tank. So all of our agents can go in there and claim the lead. And first that grabs it, it gets assigned to them in the Real Geek system. We really love that. We don't have leads falling through the cracks anymore. It's just so much easier to manage and everything else. So that's what I have for making sure you have a lead routing system. How are you going to get those leads to your agents and make sure that your agents are keeping up with them and these leads aren't just falling into the cracks? The reason we like the Shark Tank, once again, is because agents' time changes as they're on showings and stuff. So this kind of covers the bases with that. The next piece that we have to talk about is systemized follow-up. This is the big thing. And this is where I think a lot of people, if you got a note paper, this is where I'm going to give away at least what I do. And hopefully a couple of those things work for you as well. I will say, first off, I was even surprised by this. We're actually within the first 24 hours, we are reaching out to our clients 12 times in the first 24 hours. So we're touching base with them 12 times. And I'm going to go over exactly what those things are. There's no secrets here. I'm going to share them all with you right now. So systemized follow-up, all leads need to be worked all leads are opportunities. Not all leads are great customers, but all of them are an opportunity to be a great customer. The leads, I'll be honest with you, I've been doing this long enough. The leads are as good as you think they are. If you think those leads are garbage, they are garbage. I will promise you they will be garbage. If you feel like there's good leads in there, then there'll be good leads in there. And I've seen it time and time again. The agents that go into it with a positive attitude have really great results. The ones that think they're a victim and everything's against them don't have good results. That's just how it works. So the average lead quality, if everybody, I'm just sharing numbers that I've heard and they seem to be accurate, is somewhere between 1% and 3% of the internet leads you capture are going to be a sale, are going to be able to turn into a sale. So if you purchase 100 leads, you can expect 1 to 3 sales out of that. And I don't truly believe in that because my numbers don't show those numbers. I'll tell you what our numbers are, but I think that's for the agent who buys the lead and makes one phone call. And if the person doesn't answer, that's it. That's where they're leaving it. These leads are long-term. You have to work them for, in some cases, years. We find that some of our best leads are the ones that have been in our system for a year and a half, 2 years. So, if you don't have the standing power for that, that's tough. But long-term, you're going to get additional revenue out of these leads if you just keep on working them for the years to come. Our agents, just so you know, are converting at about 10+% on our leads, which is a really good conversion rate. I would love to see it 20. You got to be reasonable, I think, as well. And it's by using our follow-up systems. So I'll work from the top down what we're doing for a lead, like when it comes in, what step 1 is. So step 1 is the lead signs up. They're assigned to our customer relations file. So that's just a name of one of our agents. It's called customer relations. And the reason we have that is in case it sits around for a little bit in the Shark Tank, we're still doing stuff to it. We're taking action. Step 2, it goes into our it auto starts our buyer or seller workflow. Our workflow is available for free from Real Geeks. So if you go into Real Geeks, the drips, workflow, add workflow, pick from the library and select the mega 419-day buyer workflow. So that's the mega 419-day buyer workflow. It's already created for you. So all those steps that I'm going to talk about from this point on are already done. All you have to do is go in there. This will literally take you less than 15 minutes to get working for you. If you have a Real Geeks account already, don't overthink it. Don't be like, I'm going to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to do all this thing already works. So get this working today so that it's doing its job for you, and then go ahead and reinvent it in a month from now, which you'll never do it, I promise, because it'll just be working and you won't have the time to do it. But if you do make it better, you got to send me the results of that so I can make mine better too. We're on a team.
I like that.
So just so you know, that workflow that I have shared there personally at our brokerage, it's automatically sent out over 500,000 emails. So that's 589,000 emails it's sent out, and it sent out over 55,000 texts in the last few years. So that machine is just doing its job for us, and it's trying to look like a real person when it's doing it. So here's an example. So the first text goes out 6 minutes after that person signed up. That first text is going out and it's just saying, hello, thank you for signing up on my company's name, NORCHAR.com. Our team is working on setting up your house search. I've already started to customize it for you. So that goes out 6 minutes. At minute 7, so a minute later, it sends out the second text message. And that's saying our team will send daily updates, saving you time. We're based here in Rochester, which is our local area. Are you as well? So we're trying to see if they're local as well.
Got it.
The third text goes out another minute later. So this is now minute 8. Text is this your first home purchase? With just a question. Okay, so we're trying to engage with them and get them to answer a question in a text message. Now, if they answer any of the text string, and this is all Real Geeks workflow, just so everybody knows, the text string will stop and it'll go into hiatus so you don't make yourself look like an idiot by not answering the text. So that's all going to automatically happen for you. And then 7 minutes after that, so 15 minutes, they're going to get just a generic company email that they're expecting to get anyways from any company. So we send that out just to check that box. So now they've gotten 3 text messages and an email. At minute 48, so 33 minutes later, this is the one we get the most hits on because the customer they think a computer's not going to hit them up again. So 45 minutes after they've been signed up, we're sending out a text that says, "Are you looking to buy, sell, or both?" We get the most response on this text. I don't know if it's just because of the amount of time or the question so engaging. And it's amazing when they say they want to do both. Our agents love that. They want to work with a buyer.
Dude, I don't think on that part, just on that question alone, by the way, it's a combination, I think, of both things. Great question, timing. But I think that question on the selling part, for some reason, agents do forget to ask that part because they see it only as a buyer coming in. So I love that.
Yeah. So the machine's doing our work for us in a certain extent. And then from that point, it goes into the regular workflow, the 419 days. It will send out 19 emails and 27 texts automatically for you, spaced out in a way that, hopefully looks realistic to a potential buyer. I have a note here that larger teams, it does make sense to have a full-time internet lead specialist or somebody that's watching all of these leads. There's just so much going on that normal agents and managers can't keep an eye on it. Having somebody that can keep an eye on your system and find the opportunities and squeeze those for, more opportunity it's totally worth it. You'll get your money back tenfold.
I agree.
So while all of that stuff I just talked about is happening, the lead is also being sent to our Shark Tank for lead distribution. At that point, the agent or the ISA can claim the lead, and then the lead is automatically assigned to them in Real Geeks. So no matter how you're doing your lead assignment, all of that stuff should be happening at the same time. The agent's first job is to actually fix the customer's name on their profile because all of the automated stuff's going to be grabbing their name and stuff. And if the capitalization is wrong or the spelling is wrong or whatever, it's looking like you don't care and you're replicating that every time you send an email out. So the first thing we want them to do is fix the capitalization and make it look like you would want it to look if you were truly sending the email out. The next thing is the agent's going to what we call set a breadcrumb. We want them to look through really quick and see what kind of stuff the customer is looking for. What areas are they looking in? What style homes are they looking at? This gives them something to talk about with the customer when they actually do connect with them so that they actually can have a little bit deeper conversation. So we call that setting the breadcrumb. It can be based on town or home style, whatever that is. Then we get into the agent is actually going to call the lead. This is the most important part. You have to talk to these people. If you think you can text, you can get away with text and chat and everything else. Yes, to a certain extent in today's day and age, yes, some of that does work. I'm not going to stand up on a podium and say it doesn't. However, your best results are going to be with the phone call. So you want to continue to try to make these phone calls. So at this point, we do what we call war dialing, or we like to call it a DDT, double dial text. So we want to call them twice in a row and then text. And that first call, basically, if the voicemail picks up, you hang up. You do not leave a voicemail. You call them back. And if you get voicemail again, then you leave a professional message, and then you text right after from your phone, just saying, "Hey, that was me. Just so you know, I'm just trying to give you the service you deserve," or whatever you're saying is that's going to drive them to be interested in maybe talking to you in the future. Now, we find that this works amazing because if you're anything like me, and I'm sure everybody on this call is like this nowadays, you never answer a phone call from a number you don't know because you think it's a telemarketer. However, if that same number calls you right back immediately again, you start getting a little curious, like, who is that? Maybe it's somebody, it's not a telemarketer, it's something else. So you often will pick up, and we see this, the answer rate is somewhere around 60 to 70% by doing that double dial. And I always say to my agents, you're crazy for waiting, because if you call them tomorrow with the same number they don't know, they're not going to answer it again. So you've just extended it out further and further. So the sooner you do that double dial text, the better you're off. So after the war dialing or the double dial text, at this point, well, first off, if you get them on the phone, which hopefully you do, that's the amazing best thing that can happen, right? We want to use what we call our optimal call greeting. So you want to have something that you're saying that's going to convert. Number one, you do not want to tell them your name. You don't want, you can tell them what company you're calling from, or you just sign up on my website, but they don't care about your name. So if you think they do, stop saying that. You do want to sound as little like a telemarketer as possible, because everybody's so used to telemarketers now. You don't want to sound like them. So anything you can do to differentiate yourself. We go over our optimal call greeting. It's something to the extent of, saying, hey, we see that you're looking in this particular area. Is that the only place you're looking? We're trying to get them to engage with us. And that's where that breadcrumb comes in, because I said, we have that township tagged. So when we say, hey, we see you're looking in Rochester, is that the only place you're looking? And they say, oh yeah, that's really the only, I'm moving that location. That's where I want to live. Then we get into who, what, where, when, and how. And we have really targeted questions that are all real estate related around those. And then we take personal interest in them as well as we're going through to build a relationship. Our goal is to build that relationship and that bridge of trust so that they'll do the thing. And this is the number one thing I'll tell you. You better have a reason why you're calling them. It better be compelling, and you better believe it. If you don't believe it, you're never going to sell them on why you're calling them. So our reason for calling them is we want to have an appointment with them so that we can show them the benefit of working with us, and show them all of the great tools that they're going to have available to them if they work with us, and show them all of those things and how much value it's providing to them. Number one, the call is 100% about your client and the value you can provide your client, and nothing about you. The more you focus on yourself, the less opportunity you'll have to work with people. So you got to get out of your own head. They don't care about you. All they care about is themselves. Now, eventually they will care about you once they know that you care about them. So that's what you got to do. You got to get to the other side of that. They'll ask you your name when you've earned it. I'll tell you that. You know that you got them when they say, who is this? Because that's at that point, if you're far enough in the conversation, you say, can I get your name? They're interested in knowing it. And that means you've earned that. At some point, when you get into that conversation with the who, what, where, and how, you'll be able to ask for what we call our appointment. You want to ask for an appointment and get the appointment. If they say no, then we go to what we call a value stack. We're explaining a little bit more value into the conversation, and then we go for the appointment again. They say no again, we keep on going around as much as we can until it's annoying and they're just done with us. Then we, unfortunately, at some point have to get off the phone, and then we'll call them again and continue offering them value and seeing what they're going to bite on. So you should have things that you do and you believe in, and that you are compelling enough that you would be interested in them, that you can offer your clients to get them to bite and to come into that appointment. And you should be as excited as you are about that appointment. So I always say, be like a priest, that didn't believe in God, right? Trying to tell you to believe in that. You have to believe in it yourself. And if you don't, nobody else is going to believe you either. So don't try to sell something that someone else told you to say. That's never going to work. You have to believe in yourself.
Good point, man. A couple of questions from the audience, but one, can you give a little more description of breadcrumbs to be set? Could you expand on that?
Yeah, I wouldn't overthink this, to be honest. I would truly just make it, what towns are they looking in? What style homes are they looking at? 2-story homes? Are they looking at condos? Are they looking at townhouses or beachfront homes? So if you see they're only looking at waterfront properties, like 6 of them, or homes that, are in the $700,000 range, or, something that's a characteristic of like what their search is about. Let's say they were looking at just farmhouses or houses with barns. I would say that. I would say, hey, I see you're looking at mainly houses with barns. Is that the only type of property you're looking at? What you're trying to do is show them that you know kind of what they're looking at. It kind of knocks them off their balance a little bit, and gives you a chance to kind of keep them talking, because they're like, wow, well, how does this person know I'm doing that? and then you're bringing them into the who, what, where, when, and how. And, they're more willing to go down that path because you have enough, you've given them enough that they know, what they're looking at. They can't just lie about that. Now, some still will. Some will say, no, I didn't sign up on your website. Okay. Well, someone in your household maybe did, or maybe your wife is. So
maybe your house is haunted.
Maybe your house is haunted.
I don't know what's going on.
So basically, if the lead does not answer, we then put it into, we send our, once again, we use the Real Geeks integration. We send it to Mojo. We're using Mojo Dialer as a triple line dialer. We send it over there with a, we got it in a, where am I here? I want to give you my exact notes because I'm on a call here for LabCoatAgents for Real Geeks. So I figured everybody's going to be wanting to be real detailed on this show. I don't know why.
Yeah, they always are. I'm getting that exact same thing. Like, is there a recording? Because I already missed this other thing. I'm like, there's a recording. It's on the YouTube channel.
Well, you can play it back slow. How's that?
Yeah, slow it down.
So if I want to, there's something exactly like I want to say so that you guys get it perfect. So when the agent does call, it is really advantageous to log that as well in the CRM. So we actually, if they make that first call and there's no answer, they do an activity in the CRM market so that they know how many calls have been made. And then the second one as well. So those 2 calls that are double dial should both be logged right away. And then that text should also be logged as well, so that you have a history of, hey, this person got all of that. And then at that point, we want to send the lead over to Mojo. And there's ways you can automatically do that from Real Geeks. Also, just so you know, 10 minutes after, we have all of our agents have made an introductory video. So it's just a quick video that's also within Real Geeks system. You can send video emails out. So it's just a quick, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm the person that's been trying to call you. I'm the person that's sending you all this valuable information. I offer these other additional things, just so you know. If you want any of these, just, click back Y or whatever so that we can engage with you. And that's automatically going out when 10 minutes after the agent checks yes. So until they do, it's not doing that. So it's 10 minutes after the agent actually grabs onto the lead.
I like that. And is that something that's built into Real Geeks, or is there a partnership with bombom, or is it just directly?
So it used to be a partnership with bombom. They have their own integration built in, and it's included in the cost of their system. Video emailing.
So you don't have to get a separate company. James has a great question. What's up, James? Didn't see you, buddy. He said he has beard envy. That's number one. Number two, James, what happens to the lead once it goes to the dialer?
So this is exactly what happens. So we have the lead set up on where is this? Okay. So I'm almost there. So let me just finish this so I don't have to come back. So before it goes over the dialer, we make sure that the agent must set up a search. This is if you walk away with only one note from today's thing is whatever platform you're using, make sure your customers, every single one of them or every lead has a search. It's the only thing that's going to keep them coming back to your website versus going to one of the big guys like Realtor.com or Zillow or whatever. And it gets them on your platform playing versus on somebody else's platform. And you want that long term. So, get them on there as quick as you can, get them using it, getting comfortable with it, try to make it engaging. It also is going to send them daily emails from you, right? Because that's your drip and that's providing the best value. It's the thing people care about most because it actually is the thing they want, which is the listings. Now, that's for buyers. For sellers, our agents automatically set them up on what we call a sold search. So it sends them a list of anything that's sold, and that's not available in all markets. I know there's certain markets that don't allow it. Just so you know, you might have to talk to Real Geeks if what areas. But in New York, they do allow you to share sold data. So we share that with our customers every month. So they get that. The sellers get it, so they understand what neighbor's house is sold. And then Real Geeks also has a market report built in. So we set them up on a free market report too, that they get monthly as well.
Damn, dude. All right. So
if they spoke with the lead, they must put a follow-up in the system. If they didn't speak with the lead, this is where we're talking. Then it goes over to Mojo, and they assign it to what they call their hot leads in their Mojo account. And then we have already set up in Mojo, for anybody that's familiar, Mojo has something called action plans. You want to set up an action plan for these leads that go in there. So what happens is the lead is tagged hot lead, and anybody who needs any of these workflows or whatever, reach out to me offline. My email or my website is right down there, norchar.com. Just go there and I'm at the top guy in there. So the action plan is 21 steps, and basically it calls once a day, every day for the first week. Then it goes to once a week for the rest of that month. And then it goes to once a month for the rest of the year. This is only until you make that first contact with them. So obviously, if they pick up the first time, you're going to take them out of the thing. You're not going to call them every day after they answer. So, but a lot of people don't answer. So that's the benefit of this system is you basically log into your Mojo account, you click the little calendar, and you go to make that day's calls. You push 3 buttons, basically. Log in, calendar, make calls, and the dialer comes up and you make those calls and you're done for the day. And you can make, 60 phone calls in 10 minutes because most of them go to voicemail. And then the only thing I'll say is here's a pro tip. Make sure you change your drop message every day when you go in. So I guess there's an extra step. You should go in and change your drop message, because if you don't, the person starts getting, they hear that same message every time and they start saying, what's going on here? It seems automated. I'm not as impressed. So, try to put something that's local to your market, or, if the Bills lost the playoffs, you got to say, hey man, it was a bad night last night. Sorry. But, so
it's not snowing today. It's not snowing today. It's nice weather.
First day. It's 40 degrees. Let's get out and look at some houses. So those are the kind of things you want to do. That pro tip is just change that message. It takes you 2 seconds to do it. And then that gets dropped. Or if you don't have a ton of leads when you're first starting, you can leave an individual message every time on that. So that's another great thing. When someone does answer, we take off that tag, that hot lead tag, and we put a trash tag on it. And then the admin goes through and takes all the trash ones out of there, because we're not using Mojo anymore for those leads. And we use the Real Geeks follow-up system from that point on. That Mojo we're just using for that first contact because it's so hard. We find that most people, they're answering around call 6 to 8. Just so you know, that's where the biggest. So and we're tracking it. So I can tell you, if you think you're going to get them that first call, and then the funny thing is I think they're always going to yell at me, but most people are actually apologetic when you do get them. They're like, so sorry, I haven't been, I've been so busy, I haven't answered your call. I'm sorry, I haven't had time to call you back. So it's so funny when they're like that, because you're just like, you're expecting them to blast off at you.
That's so true, man.
So as I shared, if you're using exactly what I just said with the Mojo and everything, that's going to be 12 calls in the 12 touches in the first 24 hours. It's made up of 6 text messages, 3 emails, and 3 phone calls, because you're going to do the war dialing. That's 2 calls. And then the next morning, you're going to call them on Mojo. So that's 3 calls, 6 text messages, and 3 emails. It's 12 contacts in the first 24 hours. And then 20 contacts in the first 7 days. And that's made up of some additional emails and text messages that are automatically going out from the Real Geek system, on top of that agent introduction email and the Mojo calls every day. So that's a 20 total touches, not including search. So if they have a search set up and they're getting some search stuff, they'll get that as well. And our Real Geeks is real nice because they let them put the agent information on the bottom with their photo and everything. So they're starting to get to see their face and get to know them as a product of choice in their household. So
I like this, man. You dropped knowledge so fast that I couldn't keep up. So I'm going to check out Is it NORCHAR or NORCHAR?
It's NORCHAR, CHAR. It's named after my two daughters, Nora and Charlotte. So that's where it comes from.
Got it. NORCHAR.com. If anyone has questions, go there. You can reach out to Craig there, ask him all of the questions you have. He'll provide any information for you. He runs all of his systems through Real Geeks, like you saw, and uses the Mojo dialer. So thank you for that explanation, Craig. I feel like we could have like a part 2 and 3 and 4 with you. So I have a feeling we're going to do this
any of the
again.
good stuff yet. So,
Dude, we're going to have to do a next part to this for
I'm
sure.
like warming up to you. I don't even know if I can trust you yet. I'm like just giving you my basic stuff just to, scratch the surface, see if we can build a relationship here.
Well, yeah. We're speed dating here, man. We're speed dating. Craig, thanks for being on, man. I appreciate the knowledge. I took some notes. I don't know if you can see. There you go. For me, I always like to look back and think, what can I use? Two things. What can I use now to connect better with my clients? And number two, what can I use that can make something stand out better for me so that I can think of it quicker? Your breadcrumbs idea, just the phrase, that was really good. I really like that because now I'm going to remember that and I'll use it more often. So thank you, Craig. I appreciate them. And then if anyone listening has referrals for Craig, how do we get a hold of you? Through email, Instagram, Facebook, website?
If you go to norchar.com, all of our social feeds are there. Me and my wife are the owners of the company. So anything you send forward to that company is going to end up in our gates anyway. If you do sign up on our website to test it out or whatever, please just put LabCoat or something as a last name or something, just so we know, so we don't have our agents wasting tons of time trying to make contact with you. We'll still share all of our the automated stuff so you can see that, but I just don't want my agents to be distracted if possible. I appreciate it.
Makes sense.
You'll appreciate the same someday, I'm sure. So,
yeah. Craig, thank you so much for your time and your knowledge. And
thanks for having us on. We love to share information, as you can tell, and we've learned a lot from other people by them being kind, and we want to return the favor, obviously.
I appreciate that, and we appreciate you. So thank you. Thanks, everybody.